Hi, this is Victoria from CrushCrypto.com. In this video, I will be covering a blockchain project called Grin. As always, we are not paid or mandated to do any of our reviews. This is just our personal opinion and analysis for educational purposes only, and not financial advice. Please always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Grin is an open-source blockchain that uses the Mimblewimble protocol to provide extra privacy. With this protocol, transactions can be cryptographically verified despite hiding the amount that is being sent. Every Bitcoin transaction reveals both the sender's and receiver's addresses, as well as the exact amount of Bitcoin sent. This ensures security. Anyone can confirm the correct amount of Bitcoin being transacted or in a specific address at any given time. The Mimblewimble protocol basically attempts to hide the amount of cryptocurrency in a transaction while still allowing others to prove that the transaction is valid. To read more about Mimblewimble, check out our article on cryptography and privacy, which you can find on our website at crushcrypto.com. Some of the main characteristics of Grin include privacy by default. This enables complete fungibility with the ability to selectively disclose information as needed. Grin scales with the number of users instead of the number of transactions in order to save space compared to other blockchains. It features strong cryptography, and its simple design allows for easy auditing and maintaining. It is also a community-driven blockchain with focus on mining decentralization. Grin transactions are unique as there are no addresses or amounts, and two transactions can be merged in a block to form one, removing intermediary information. For example, if Alice sends money to Bob, who later sends it all to Carol, Bob is never technically involved and his transaction is never seen on the Grin blockchain. A Grin transaction consists of a set of inputs that reference a set of previous outputs, a set of new outputs, and a transaction kernel. The only way to see the inputs and outputs of a given transaction is to be a direct participant. Otherwise, these inputs and outputs look like random data pieces with no meaning. The transaction kernel contains additional data such as mining fees and the signature for a given transaction. Grin is achieving scalability by using Mimblewimble transactions and a unique block format. Most outputs are eventually spent by another input, so all spent outputs can be removed from the blockchain. This keeps the size of the data on the blockchain relatively low versus existing blockchains like Bitcoin. The Grin blockchain mostly scales with the number of users as opposed to the number of transactions. The number of users is represented by unspent outputs, and individual transaction data is not necessary to be included in the block. Grin uses a basic proof-of-work algorithm called cuckoo cycle, which is designed to be resistant to hardware arms races. It is a memory-bound algorithm, so its solution time is bound by memory bandwidth as opposed to raw processor or GPU speed. In theory, mining cuckoo cycle solutions is viable on regular hardware and require relatively less energy. This should increase the decentralization of mining over time, opposite to the increasing centralization as seen with other proof-of-work blockchains. Grin implements a difficulty target that keeps the average block solution time within a target range, currently 60 seconds. In comparison, the Bitcoin average block time is 10 minutes and Ethereum is roughly 15 seconds. Key features of the Grin blockchain include the Mimblewimble privacy protocol, which I talked about earlier. The Grin blockchain is also scalable as it only stores unspent outputs and a small data kernel for every transaction in a block. The size of the blockchain grows slower over time and scales with the number of users instead of the number of transactions. There was no ICO and no pre-mine to launch Grin, and there is no mandatory portion of the mining rewards to be given to developers. The Grin team has also pledged to never seek or accept capital with the expectation of future return to influence decision-making. Grin also features the cuckoo cycle, which is the algorithm behind Grin's proof-of-work consensus mechanism. This slide summarizes the key milestones for the Grin blockchain. In July 2016, the first paper on Mimblewimble was released. In October, a more detailed paper was released which expanded on Mimblewimble and added further scaling improvements. In the same month, an anonymous person also started a GitHub project called Grin. In March 2017, a technical introduction to Mimblewimble and Grin was posted on GitHub. And in January 2019, the first mainnet Grin block was mined and Grin Network was officially released. The current circulating supply of Grin is around 4.3 million with a market cap of $14 million. The rate of new coins being released is 60 per block, or 1 every second. This rate is likely to remain constant forever. This means the inflation percentage will decrease every year as the circulating supply grows. After 10 years, the inflation rate will fall below 10%, and after 20 years, the rate will be below 5%. In 25 years, Grin will have a 4% inflation rate, which is similar to Bitcoin's rate 10 years after its creation. The Grin team has cited multiple studies to estimate that 2% or more of Grin tokens will be lost from circulation each year. Grin was not created by a company. There is no CEO or official leadership team, though there are companies who have donated or supported the project. The individuals working on Grin are volunteering their time to the project and are solely funded through community donations. The open source project has 121 contributors so far, but there are no public profiles on the team. Donors to the Grin project include individuals and companies such as BlockCypher, Bitonic, CoinGecko, Cypher Capital, and more. The Grin blockchain has a number of strengths. Mimblewimble is a promising privacy protocol that completely shields transaction information from third parties. It also allows for transactions to be verified while storing minimal data on the blockchain. Grin launched with no ICO, no pre-mine, and no allocation for the founders. This may be viewed more positively in the crypto community and discourage speculation. The open source project is being developed by a competent group of developers. From the Grin GitHub, there are 121 contributors to the project, and development has been quite active so far. The token economics of Grin are straightforward and ensures the inflation rate will decrease every year. This enables a clear-cut monetary policy that would not be easily changed in the future. And even though Grin is a relatively young project, it has already developed a decent community and exposure in the crypto space. A number of crypto exchanges such as Poloniex and Bittrex have already listed the coin. In terms of weaknesses, the decentralized nature of Grin is very different from many tokens that have a founding company and a public team. It has been seen with Bitcoin that having no true leadership can lead to long disputes over how to update the blockchain, and this could potentially be an issue for Grin going forward. Since there was no ICO or fundraising, Grin developers rely solely on donations to fund the project. If the donations stop coming in, the Grin developers will have to volunteer their time to work on the project, or they may choose to leave Grin for other projects. Grin has a lot of competition in the market. Privacy coins like Zcash and Monero have a first mover advantage, larger communities, and more widely known privacy protocols. The future of privacy coins in general is still uncertain. Even if they work perfectly, there still must be a sizable market of people who want financial privacy in order for privacy coins to succeed. There is also significant uncertainty with respect to government regulations that could make it hard for Grin to thrive. The diluted market cap for Grin is very large right now. Grin is the 7th most valuable cryptocurrency using coin supply at the year 2050, which is higher than both Monero and Zcash. Grin is one of the first implementations of Mimblewimble. It has a clear mission to be a highly scalable and privacy-focused coin, which could be good in the long run as other blockchains continue to face privacy and scaling issues. On the other hand, Grin has a lot of competition in the privacy coin market segment. There are projects that are already implementing or have plans to implement the Mimblewimble protocol. The monetary policy for Grin, while simple, would lead to very high inflation in the first few years of the network. Miners would keep selling their mined coins on the market, which would lead to constant selling pressure. Grin was launched in a similar fashion to Bitcoin in a truly decentralized manner with no token sales, airdrops, pre-mine, or reserve block rewards. However, this is also a different time than when Bitcoin was launched. There is a lot more competition now for talented blockchain developers, and it takes more effort for blockchain projects to stand out from the crowd and to build a sizable community. Grin may face challenges competing for talent with other well-funded competitors. Considering the rise of the ICO model and the number of companies launching their own tokens, it will be interesting to see if Grin's organic release will be beneficial or harmful to them in the long run. As Grin is still a very young project, we don't believe it should be the 7th most valuable cryptocurrency under diluted market cap, but we do believe it is a promising protocol. Thank you very much for watching our video on Grin. If you haven't already, please follow us on social media or join our official Telegram announcement channel to get our latest updates. See you next time and keep on crushing your crypto game.